Hello, Namaste everyone from myself Ranjan Dakal. Welcome all of you to Distance Learning Center of West Montessori Elementary School. Now today I have taken a chapter from the biology of class 9, that is ecosystem. Now ecosystem or environment science, that is the study of relationship between the living organism and non-living organism. Now moving on to ecosystem, let's move to ecology. Now ecology, that means it is a study how organisms interact with one another. That means how living organisms, they are interacting with each other, plus with the physical environment. Not interaction between the living organism only, but the interaction with the physical environment too. That means non-living things too. Now in ecology, what we will talk about the distribution and abundance of organism on earth, that is shaped by both biotic living organism related and abiotic non-living factors. That means how the organisms are distributed, how is the abundance of organism in earth. It is determined, it is shaped by the biotic, that is living things, and the non-biotic factors, that is non-living things. Ecology, it also includes organisms, populations, community, ecosystem, and biosphere. Now let's move on to ecosystem. Ecosystem is a structural and functional unit of ecology. That means it's a unit of ecology. Ecology is a unit of biology. Similarly, ecosystem is a unit of ecology. Now where the living organism interact with each other and they interact with the surrounding environments. We can say ecosystem, it is a chain of interaction between the organisms, between the living things and their environment, means with their non-living things. First it was termed, given word ecosystem by an English botanist who study about botany, A.G. Tansley, and it was in 1953 AD. Now let's move on to types of ecosystem. Ecosystem, it may be from a small, same as an oasis in the desert, very small, and it may be a big like ocean that spans thousands of miles. Particularly there are two types of ecosystem. The first one is terrestrial, we also call it land ecosystem, and the second one is aquatic ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystems and aquatic ecosystem. Now let's move on to terrestrial ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystem, land ecosystem, that means the relationship between living organisms with their physical environment in the land. And even according to the geological zones, they are further subdivided into forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, tundra ecosystem, and desert ecosystem. Now let's move on to the forest ecosystem. Now the name itself here, forest ecosystem, means that consists of plants and animals, microorganisms that are in forest with the abiotic factor of that forest. And here the forest, they helps to maintain the temperature of the earth. They are very important and are the major carbon sink, that means the major source of coal, carbon sink, that is found in our earth's crust. Now here the microbes, they are present in the forest itself. All the living creatures, they are present in the forest itself, and all the non-living things like water, soil, they are in the forest. Forest ecosystem means the relationship between living and non-living creatures, non-living factors, non-living components that are present in the forest. Moving on to second, that is a grassland. That means now here instead of forest, the relationship between living and non-living factors happens in grassland. Now here there is the domination of not forest, it's by grass and it's by herbs. Temperate grassland, savanna grassland, they are some of the examples. Here we can see in the picture, dominated by grass and dominated by the animals that feed upon grass. And the abiotic factors, soil, water, air, other gases, they are all obtained. Now the third one is tundra ecosystem. Now the name tundra, That means those who lack trees and are found in cold climate, or where there is rainfall is scarce and there is snowfall. That means the most of the part of the year, the part is covered with the snow. It is generally found in Arctic circle, Arctic region, on top of the mountains. They are the tundra tribe. Look here, the creatures, they are the creatures that can survive in the tundra climate. And the other non-living creatures, that is non-living components, they are according to the climate. Now the fourth one, that goes to desert ecosystem. That means that have very little rainfall. Days are hot and nights are cold due to the presence of sand over there. And desert animals, desert ecosystem means desert animals and plants and non-living components according to the desert. We can find cactus, we can find camel and other creatures according to the desert. That means the relationship between the living components and non-living components that are present in the desert is desert ecosystem. Now this was all 4 subtypes of land ecosystem or terrestrial ecosystem. Let me remind again. Now desert ecosystem, tundra ecosystem, grassland ecosystem and forest ecosystem. This is all about terrestrial ecosystem, land ecosystem. Moving on to second type of ecosystem, we go to aquatic ecosystem. Now the ecosystem that is present in aquatic, aqua means water. That means that is present in the body of water, inside water. Since the water body, they are of 2 types. Ecosystem will obviously be of 2 types, because the animals living in one type of water doesn't survive in another environment. The 2 types, they are freshwater ecosystem, and the second one is marine ecosystem. Now let's move to freshwater ecosystem. That means ecosystem that includes lakes, ponds, river, stream and wetland, where there isn't any presence of salt in the water. Animals are accordingly precious, they are accordingly present. Now the second type of ecosystem, marine ecosystem, sea ecosystem, ocean ecosystem, and they are include seas and oceans, and they contains the what? Marine means they contains the salt in the water. That's why they have a greater biodiversity, means they have greater varieties of life in marine ecosystem, in sea ecosystem, in ocean ecosystem, if we compare it to the freshwater ecosystem, because the biodiversity, that means different types of animals, that is less in freshwater ecosystem, whereas greater in marine ecosystem. Now today we studied the different types of ecosystem. First concept with what is environment science, that is means the relationship between the living organisms with their non-living environment. It is also ecosystem. And under this first ecology deals how the living organism interact. And ecosystem, unit of ecology. Types of ecosystem, land or terrestrial and aquatic. Land 4 subtypes, aquatic 2 subtypes. I think this was all clear about the types of ecosystem. In the next video I will continue with the chapter with structure of an ecosystem. That means different components present in the ecosystem. What is population, what are the factors that affect the population. I'll be talking about the community. Till then, stay safe, bye bye, and stay tuned to Distance Learning Center of Best Montessori Elementary School. Have a good time ahead.